Okay, so as we just introduced via song, today we're learning about the quadratic formula.
Was that our surprise?
That was your surprise, as we had a little song and dance for you. We did it for the talent show last year, via my idea. Do you get extra credit? For what? All right. Our essential question for today is, how do you find the A, B, and C to plug into the quadratic formula? How do you find the A, B, and C to plug into the quadratic formula? And how does the discriminant tell us what type of roots we have, or there are? Okay, that's a T, a really awful looking T. How do you find the A, B, and C to plug into the quadratic formula? How does the discriminant tell us what types of roots there are? Whoa, that is not a line. Let's try that again. That's better. Okay, quadratic formula. Let's see how well you guys listen to our little song. There's one girl who was dancing. She just came from the other class, though. She was getting into it. This other kid in this corner just had his hand over his face like, oh my goodness. Okay, what's the quadratic formula start with? It's negative b, then what? Plus or minus square root, then what? B squared minus 4ac, then what? All over, does anyone besides Zach know this? 2a. Okay, you guys know that song, right? Adele, Rolling in the Deep?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like sing talk the rest of the period.
That keep you awake? Right, once you have it written down, we're going to practice this so you have it memorized, and then hopefully you'll dream about this formula.
I dream about the other song.
Okay, I'll teach you how to do it. This is a negative sign. Negative B. When we do a B, your right hand goes up like this. Because if you don't do your right hand, you're showing me a D, and it's a B. Okay, so everyone, once you've written that down, let's practice the YMCA arm movements, okay? Negative B. Thanks for practicing. It should be your right arm, like that. Okay? Plus. No, it's to your audience. So you put the right arm up so that it's a B. See? See how the right arm is up on the B? Ah. Okay? Plus. Everyone do a plus sign. That's a time sign. Get it straight up. There you go. Plus, minus, square root. It's kind of like the walk like Egyptian sign. Your left arm is the one that's going up. Your right arm is the one that's down. Like this. Square root. Okay, then we need another B. B. With the right arm. B. That's not a B. That's a goal sign. There you go. B squared. Just do a little chill. Come on, Myra. B squared. Minus. Come on, Jamie. Everyone should be doing this. 4. A. C. And C goes this way. C goes this way. Okay, so I will do it with you. Which means my back is going to have to be to you so you get your motions going the right way. Okay, let's try it. Everyone should be participating. It's negative b, right? Jamie, arm straight up. There you go. Plus or minus. Okay, we need to start over. I see people not participating.
Oh, okay.
Jonathan, are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's try again. It's negative b. There we go. Come on, Olivia. Plus or minus square root. Okay, and then we go b, good, squared, minus 4ac. And then the best part, all over 2a. Okay? We're going to try it over and over. You guys got to practice. Ready? It's negative b plus or minus square root. Come on, Marcos. B squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, there's going to be some solo dancing pretty soon. There's like 4 people not participating. Let's try it again. Ready? It's going to get faster each time. It's negative b plus or minus square root. Come on, Marcos. B squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, I'm going to look at you now. Ready? It's negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Good. 2 more times in tempo. Ready? Ready, guys? It's negative b plus or minus square root. Oh, we got to start over. People not participating. Jamie. Come on. Yep. Square root going that way. So I'm trying to do it your way. Ready? And it's negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Some people are like, I've never danced in my life. Okay, one more time. Ready? And it's negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That's the best part. Okay, so how do we get our A's, our B's, and our C's? Remember the song? Where does A's, B's, and C's come from? It comes from this guy written on the board. What's this called? Ax squared plus bx plus c. It starts with an S though. It's called the standard form. I heard it in the back. Okay, pick up your pencil. Let's continue with the notes. Okay, so from the standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c, ax squared plus bx plus c. Make sure it's set equal to what? 0, then what? Then it's easy. Ax squared plus bx plus c. Make sure it's set equal to 0, then it's what? Easy. Then it's easy, right? Okay, so we get our A's and our B's and our C's from standard form. Look, whatever's in front of the x squared is A, whatever is in front of x is B, and whatever is in front of, well, our constant, I guess, is C. Okay? And we plug it into the formula. Now there's one thing we need to add to our formula because this is very important. If we need to put parentheses around this B because B is going to be squared. If you forget parentheses and B is negative, you're going to get the wrong answer because we need to make sure we square the negative as well. Okay, so let's try one and we're going to plug it into the formula. Okay, so by the way, this formula isn't just like out of the blue. If we completed the square on the standard form, we get the quadratic formula. Remember, we've been working on completing the square for about 3 days? And so if we completed the square on the standard form, we would end up getting that. But we're just going to jump to a couple examples. That way we can have more time in class to do our homework. Okay, example 1. Yay. Okay, what are the solutions? Remember, solutions has 3 other names. Raise your hand if you can tell me at least one other name for the word solutions. Lucas. Zeros. What else? Ariana. X-intercepts. Who was the last one? Olivia? Roots. Solutions. Zeros. X-intercepts. Roots. Okay, here's our first one. X squared minus 4x equals 21. X squared minus 4x equals 21. Now, if you remember from the song, ax squared plus bx plus c, make sure it's set equal to 21. No, make sure it's set equal to 0. Then it's easy. Is this set equal to 0? No, I stole it off of YouTube. Would you have been impressed if I had written that myself? No, I stole it off of YouTube. Okay, from other math teachers. All right, this isn't set equal to 0. It's set equal to 21. That's not what we want. So how can we make it equal to 0? Madison?
Minus 21.
Good. We need to move that 21 to the other side by minusing it, right? Because now the right-hand side is equal to 0. Now these 3 pieces, are any of these like terms? X squared minus 4x and minus 21, are those like terms? No. So we write it in standard form with the x squared first, then the x to the first power, and then the constant. So it should say x squared minus 4x minus 21. Now it's set equal to 0, so it's easy. Okay, first, I would always like you to write your A's, your B's, and your C's out. A, B, and C, before you start plugging in. Okay, so A is in front of the x squared, B is in front of the x, and C is the constant. Okay, can you hold up high the number for A? Hold it up on your fingers. What's the number for A? The number for A is, what's in front of the x squared? No, it's just the number, it's not an x. It's just the number. What's the coefficient in front of x squared? 1. Good. So A is 1. Okay, show me the coefficient in front of x, because that's our B. Show me the coefficient in front of x, please. It is not 4. It is negative 4. Negative 4, right? Okay, and this one's hard because we don't have 3 hands, so if it's negative, stick out your tongue. Okay, what's the constant for C? I remember doing that in elementary. I don't know how that happened, but in elementary, if it was negative, we'd stick out our tongue. Okay, yeah, it's like this, right? Hang on. Negative 21. Okay, so now we have our A's, B's, and C's, so we just plug it into the formula. You guys are lucky. You only have to hear that song once. I have to sing it every class. So it stays in my brain forever. But it's good. No. Okay, so what's the formula again, guys? It's negative B. So we have a negative B, but our B is negative 4. So it's negative 4. Right? It's negative B, right? Which means it's negative 4. What comes after negative B? It's negative B, then what? Plus or minus what? Square root. Now what comes next? That'll be B squared. So it's very important that you put parentheses around that negative 4 squared. B squared, then what comes next? Minus 4AC. A we said was 1. C we said was negative 21. And my favorite part, all over, because it's fun to do. It's fun to do the arm wiggle. All over to A. Okay, so everything's plugged in. Are there any questions about where we're putting these numbers or how we're deciding them? 2A. All over 2A. Okay, so A is 1. All right, so now we have to go through and we have to simplify this thing. So in the front, for the negative B, what is negative 4? Positive 4. We call that wiggle squiggle, right? Subtracting negative is wiggle squiggle. That makes it positive 4. plus or minus square root. Okay? Underneath the square root, when we simplify it, that's where the discriminant comes. Maybe you heard in the song the word, and the discriminant tells us what it's all about. I might be in the wrong course part, but the discriminant tells us what it's all about. So what's negative 4 squared? 16. That's why we have to have those parentheses, otherwise we would get negative 16. Okay, now we need to title this. A common mistake is people forget those parentheses. Second common mistake is people think that that 4 is plus 4. It's minus 4, right? So we need to know what negative 4 times 1 times negative 21 is. Is that a positive 84 or a negative 84? Positive 84. All over 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, we almost know the discriminant. The discriminant is the number underneath the square root. 16 plus 84 tells us what the discriminant is. What's 16 plus 84? Kevin, back. 100. All over 2. Okay, so the discriminant is 100. In just a second, I'll tell you the 3 rules of the discriminant and what that 100 tells us. Okay, but we're not done because square root of 100 simplifies, right? Who can tell me what the square root of 100 is? Positive 10 and negative 10. That's why we have the plus and minus. 4 plus and minus 10 over 2. Sometimes my zeros look like 6s. Let's try that again. Okay? So we actually have 2 answers because of the plus and minus. So what we're going to do is we're going to add it first, and then we'll subtract. So what's 4 plus 10? 14, but we have to remember to divide by 2, which equals 7. That's one of the answers. Do it again, but now we're going to do subtraction. 4 minus 10. Negative, right? 4 minus something bigger would be a negative. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. So these are our solutions, which are also called zeros. What else? X-intercepts and roots. So these 2 guys is, if we were to graph this quadratic, which is the U shape, it crosses the x-axis at 7 and negative 3. Okay? That's the quadratic formula. Are there any questions on this problem? So right here, the plus and minus tells us there are 2 answers. So that comes from the minus part. 4 minus 10 is negative 6. Okay? All right, let's try another one. Let's see, where is it? Example 2. Here it comes. X squared minus 8x plus 12 equals 0. X squared minus 8x plus 12 equals 0. We've actually, so far, we've learned 4 different ways to solve quadratics. The easiest way is factoring, but not all quadratics are factorable because the zeros might not necessarily be integers. We learned how to take square roots, and we spent 3 days on, what was the harder method before today? Completing the square. That's the method you only want to use if factoring doesn't work. So always try factoring first. And then complete the square, or you can do quadratic formula, whichever one you're more comfortable at. You should do if you can't factor. Okay, so I would like us to write our A's, our B's, and our C's every time at the beginning of the problem. Okay, so take a look at the quadratic and write down A, B, and C. Remember, they're just numbers. They don't have X's with them. Can you catch up, please? Okay, you're a little bit behind. We wrote the answers down, and then we're on example 2. Okay, and then write down your A's, your B's, and your C's. Okay? Check with your neighbor, see if they got the same A, B, and C, please. That's very important. If you don't know the numbers to plug in, you can't do the formula. Check with your neighbor. Did you get the same A's, B's, and C's? Okay. Show me with your fingers, please. What is A? Show me with your fingers. Thank you. 1. What is B? Show me with your fingers. Can you do it? I actually stick out our tongue. -8. Okay, what is C? C? It's 12, right? Okay, so let's plug it in. Let's make sure we're doing it correctly. How does the song go? It's negative B. Jamie, what number is B? Good. Plus or minus what? Square root, then what? Parentheses, B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Any questions how we plugged it in? Okay, now we need to go through and simplify. Okay, what's a -8? Oh, not positive 16, no. -8. You're not timesing.
Oh, we're adding?
Just look at the signs. What do 2 negatives make? Positive. So positive 8.
Oh.
Okay, I think you're trying to do the square. Plus or minus square root. Now, -8 squared would be... She's afraid now. -8 squared. Liliana, what's -8 squared? Squared. -8 times -8. 64. There we go. Okay. Next common mistake. Is this 4 positive or negative? -4. So we need to do -4 times 1 times 12. And you hopefully can do that in your head. -4 times 12 is -48. All over 2 times 1, which is 2. Any questions so far? Okay. Now we have to go and simplify that discriminant. The discriminant is the answer underneath the square root. 64 minus 48. We can do that without a calculator too. Break it down. What's 64 minus 40? 64 minus 40 is 24. Subtract another 8, because we're subtracting 48. 24 minus 48 is, there you go, excuse me, 16 over 2. Are we done? Is everything simplified? 16 is not simplified, right? Law, what's the square root? Oops. What's the square root of 16, Ma? And? It's positive 4 and? There you go, plus and minus 4. So we should get 2 answers because of the plus and minus. Okay, Bo? If we add, what do we get? 8 plus 4 is, and we divide by 2, which gives us what, Bo? Good, so the first root, which is also called a 0, a solution and an x-intercept, is 2. Then we have to subtract. Okay, Diana? 8 minus 4. Good, divided by 2 is? There we go. Okay, so I keep throwing out this word called the discriminant. Now we're going to write down what the discriminant is really telling us. Unless there's any, are there any questions on this example? Okay. See, plug it, make it set equal to 0, then it's easy. Okay, the discriminant. The discriminant tells us what it's all about. The discriminant is the number underneath the square root. The discriminant is the number underneath the square root. If the number underneath the square root, which underneath the square root isn't b squared minus 4ac, right? Square root b squared minus 4ac. That's underneath the square root. If that is greater than 0, what type of numbers are greater than 0? Positive numbers. If the discriminant is greater than 0, it tells us we have 2 real solutions. And if you look at the last problem, we got 2 answers, didn't we? Because the discriminant was 16. Is 16 greater than 0? Yeah, so we got 2 real solutions, which tells us that on the graph, there are 2 points. So for instance, the last one crosses at positive 2, and what was the other solution? And 6. So by 2 real solutions, we're saying that the graph is going to cross the x-axis in 2 places that are on the real number line. If the discriminant is exactly equal to 0, if the discriminant equals 0, we only get 1 real solution. What are real numbers? I kept saying this word real. What are real numbers? Integers. Our decimals and our fractions, right? So that would look like, if the graph can only touch the x-axis once, that quadratic would look something like this. If it opens upwards, it would come down, it would hit the x-axis and bounce right off. It would mean the vertex was on the x-axis. And the last way the discriminant tells us our graph would look like is if the discriminant is less than 0. What type of numbers that are less than 0? Negative numbers. And that is actually going to give us 2 non-real solutions. Two non-real solutions. And next time's lesson, we'll go a little more in depth with that. They're actually called complex solutions. And our lesson next time is on complex numbers. So we'll talk about that more next time. Okay? Please keep in mind, every time you anytime you solve a quadratic, your answer is actually representing points on the graph. Don't just think, oh, I got these numbers, and they're just numbers. They're points on the graph, on the x-axis. Okay? Our assignment today, for the rest of class, we can work in partners on page 770, numbers 1 through 19. Page 770, numbers 1 through 19. Okay, you're welcome to work with your partners as long as you're actually working and not just socializing. If you're working, yes. Okay, keep in mind, please do this assignment on paper and make sure you write down the problem, you show work, and box up your answer. Okay? Please don't just put answers. That just makes me think that you probably copied from someone.